In order to be efficient, our minds are predisposed to jumping to conclusions. Imagine a reality that required you to analyze every minute detail in order to interpret mundane contexts and tasks. It would be absolutely exhausting and even impossible to do. To function on a moment to moment basis, our minds tend to neglect ambiguity in favor of clarity and tend to suppress doubt in favor of certainty. Take a moment to look at these three figures. You probably read the left figure as A, B, C, and the right figure as 12, 13, 14. But if you look closely, you could have just as easily read the left figure as A, 13, C, and the right figure as 12, B, 14, because the middle characters are ambiguous. But the point is that your brain did not favor ambiguity and analysis. It favored a perceived context of ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. Without making a conscious decision, your brain made a decision for you. It bypassed the ambiguity and jumped to a conclusion. So much for free will, huh? Now consider the middle figure. If you're like most of us, you imagined a woman going to make a monetary deposit or withdrawal at a financial institution. You probably did not imagine a woman approaching a canoe at a riverbank. This is because most of us make semi-regular visits to a depository bank. With this more common background operating in your consciousness, your mind automatically assigned an image of a financial institution rather than a river. Again, outside of our conscious control, our mind manufactures a conclusion. Our automatic system 1 chooses for us. As Daniel Kahneman points out in Chapter 7 of Thinking, Fast and Slow, our system 1 does not approach ambiguity by consciously weighing alternatives. In fact, our automatic intuition usually serves to believe and confirm rather than doubt or create uncertainty. For example, when asked, "Is Sam friendly?" different information will be called to mind than if you are asked, "Is Sam unfriendly?" Our minds immediately attempt to retrieve data that will confirm the question at hand. This dynamic is what psychologists call confirmation bias. We have a strong tendency to think in ways that align with our current perceptions rather than constantly doubting ourselves and our thoughts. One of the ways our minds jump to conclusions most frequently has to do with first impressions. If you meet Joan at a party and find her to be personable and easy to talk to, and someone asks you later if she might be a good candidate for donating to a charity, you would be very likely to confirm that on the basis of your favorable impression, even though you have no information about her generosity. But notice, just by planting the seed that Joan may be a charitable contributor, you may find yourself liking her even more. On the basis of very little experience, a halo effect has occurred where we tend to immediately like or dislike everything about someone or something based on very scant information. Now, allow me to introduce Alan and Ben. Here are words describing them. Alan is intelligent, industrious, impulsive, critical, stubborn, and envious. Ben is envious, stubborn, critical, impulsive, industrious, and intelligent. Who do you view more favorably? Most people prefer Alan because of the halo effect. The first impression created the context for all that followed, even though the lists were identical. One of the final ways our propensity to jump to conclusions manifests itself is expressed through this acronym Kahneman coined, WYSIATI. What you see is all there is. To demonstrate, consider this question. Will Mendick be a good leader? She is intelligent and strong. The first answer that came to mind was probably yes, good leaders are intelligent and strong. But what if I added, Mendick is also corrupt and cruel? Of course, your mind would immediately change, but it makes Kahneman's point very well. With the initial two data points you were given, intelligent and strong, your mind leapt to an answer. What you see is all there is. Until more data is given, your mind immediately acts on what there is to act upon. All of this jumping to conclusions helps us to remain sane and efficient, but as you can imagine, it also leads to biases and mistakes in judgment that can be very costly.